Hello, this is Gregory. Today we'll talk about PID, controls to make a robot drive precisely straight. First, let's see what it does, and then we'll talk about it. Perfect. You see, the robot holds the line like if it had an optical sensor, but it doesn't. So PID stands for proportional integral differential control. So it's a way of system to respond to a random error and make corrections. P proportional, E integral, and D differential. Before that, we talked about straight driving using just proportional control. That's a famous P straight program by Caution Tape. First, you need to set an error, which is the difference between the direction you want to go and the direction you are actually going. And then modify the wheel speeds as a response. So if the robot is veering to the left, you need to add speed to the left wheel. And if it's veering to the right, you need to add speed to the right wheel. So there are three components: proportional, integral, and differential. So you're adding them to left wheel and subtracting to the right wheel. So those responses, they are tuned by coefficients. KR for proportional, KI for integral, KD for derivative. KR because it's a reverse driving. And we'll do it on the example of the driving back, which is very common in this season of VEX IQ competition. So you just take the error, multiply by coefficient, and that's your response, proportional to the error. And you start driving reverse, and time you do it in the cycle and adjusting those wheel speeds. And it's doing it while a robot is still reaching its destination, while the distance which is went by the robot is less than the distance that you want to go. Okay, so now let's put back those rules. Now, the second component, integral. So why do we need that? Let's do some annotation here. If this is the direction you want to go, and your robot for some reason went to a different direction, the difference is the error. And the proportional component responds to the error and turn the robot to the right. And the larger the error, the stronger the response until the robot is moving to the same direction. And the proportional component is done. but the robot doesn't return to the path. And that's a problem. Can it return to the path? Yes, because you can make the robot memorize this part of the journey where went to the wrong direction. And you can add the error there. The more it deviates, the longer it deviates, the larger the value. And it will be your integral response. In addition, the additional force pushing the robot to the right and returning it to the path. That's the integral. And you need to tune by a coefficient. So first you set it to 0. And then every time you go through the cycle, you change this integral by the error. So you're adding error. And the more error you have, the more deviation from the path you have, the more the value of integral is. And the more the force driving the robot back. When the robot is going back, it can cross the direction and then it go back again. So it may cause some oscillations. So the faster the robot oscillates, the better should be counter response if you want those oscillations. So you need a component which is larger when the robot is changing direction fast, and slow if it changes direction slower. So it should smoothen those wild oscillations. And that's called the derivative component. Also, you need a coefficient and derivative. So the faster the robot is changing direction, the larger derivative should be. How can you do that? You take the error and the previous error and subtract the previous error from the current error. And the larger the difference is, the faster the error is increasing. So the derivative error, like previous error, set it to 0. And then set this derivative to the difference between error and previous error. So the faster the error is increasing, the larger this derivative would be. And then for the next cycle, previous error will be your error. So you set previous error to error and go back to the cycle. And that's all the code. That's what it does. However, a robot needs to be prepared for PID to make sure PID doesn't fight unnecessarily. So first, the robot must be mechanically sound, with no flimsy part. It should not be pinched or crooked. The wheels should spin freely with the washers on those axles. And the weight must be distributed evenly between the left and the right part. You can see the video which says no drifting robots. Then, even after that, the speeds of the wheels would be slightly different, and you can change them separately by coefficients. However, those coefficients, they will depend on the speed, unfortunately. And they will work well only for a certain speed. Some robots may have a golden speed. And at that speed, both wheels, left and right, they spin at the same rate, same velocity. And you don't even need change those coefficients. It's 1, 1, or -1, -1 if the robot goes backwards. For my robot, this golden speed is 25. So if it's speed less, the right wheel spins a bit faster. If it's more than 25, the left wheel spins a little faster. So at the right speed, actually, robot drives pretty well. And for some application, it may not even need a PID. Okay. Now, how to tune that? First, you turn off any component, proportional, integral, differential. You can set those coefficients to 0 and see how they work. So first, you need to tune the wheels without any PID and set all three coefficients to 0. And then play with the speed. And you can monitor the direction on the console or just visually. That's brain rotation. After it's done, try to increase the proportional component slowly. At some value, the robot will start to wiggle or oscillate. Then set the value of the proportional coefficient to the half of the value when the robot starts to wiggle. And at this value, robot will not wiggle. However, it will not return to the path. It will return to the direction, but not to the path. And gradually increase integral component until robot starts to return to the path. And then tune KD a little bit to minimize those oscillations. And that's how you have that perfect driving that you saw at the beginning. And you can check how those controls work. You can just give the robot a kick to artificially kick it out of the way, and you will see how it returns it. For proportional component, it will return to the direction, but with integral, it also will return to the path. And if it doesn't, just change coefficients. So this kicking the robot is a good way to give a test to your program. Thank you for watching.